A call in Singapore to allow women to freeze their eggs and for laws to punish discrimination in the workplace. They're two of the recommendations from a joint paper to improve the lives of women. The proposals have been drawn up by the women's wing of the ruling People's Action Party and its youth arm. It says mindsets have to change. Women need to stop being blamed unfairly if a couple cannot conceive. One way is to start a national reproductive health screening program for married couples, allowing for better planning. On the subject of egg freezing for non-medical purposes, the report says people shouldn't assume it will encourage women to delay finding a partner. Instead, it could offer women more options later in life.
The reality is it's not like you want to get married now, you can find someone, and the quality of eggs do reduce over time. And this is not something a woman will take lightly. It's not that easy to go and just take your eggs out and store it. It's a lot of process that a woman has to go through. So some are already doing it overseas. How can we make it better for women?
There are other fertility issues such as endometriosis, PCOS, which at a certain stage will cause infertility to women. And that's not life-threatening, but it's infertility. Does that not mean that the woman then have a right to actually freeze her eggs earlier?
Single mums have also been singled out for special attention, particularly since some, like divorcees and unwed mothers, may sometimes face prejudice. The paper wants to help them cope with childcare, finances and housing through a support network of agencies and community partners. There are also suggestions for more equality in the workplace. That would mean making into law the Tripartite guidelines on fair employment practices. This would allow discrimination against both men and women to be punished and those reporting such acts to be protected. The paper also calls for programs to allow more women access to male-dominated jobs, such as in the tech sector. One suggestion is for industry mentors to guide younger recruits. Support should also go to those who want to return to work after taking a break to care for their families. Suggestions include a support package for them to reskill or incentives from employers to return to work. One major area is also to take the pressure off women who tend to be main caregivers. The paper suggests giving parents the choice to decide how to share maternity and paternity leave. More grants can also go to those caring for seniors and schemes to help caregivers with their retirement savings. Another idea is a volunteer program to care for the elderly.
Maybe the workload of each spouse is different, and you may be dealing with self-employed partners, self-employed persons who are mothers themselves, or maybe the husband may have more flexibility at work to actually take care or provide the caregiving for their children. And I think it can only be better for the mentality and the upbringing of a child to have both parents equally invested in their upbringing.
More than 1,500 people were consulted for the joint paper, including men. It comes ahead of a separate white paper on women-related issues to be presented soon in Parliament.
We found that many men actively participated in the engagements, and they were vested in the process. In fact, some of the suggestions and recommendations that followed up from those engagements originated from the men themselves. This suggests a maturing of our society.
Well, doctors say that letting women freeze their eggs will give them more options down the road, since many are marrying later. They say that the earlier the procedure is done, the better, although they warn that it doesn't guarantee pregnancy. Egg freezing is currently allowed only on medical grounds. For example, if a woman is being treated for cancer, since that could make her infertile.
The younger you are, firstly, the higher the number of eggs you are likely to get when you do an egg collection cycle. And secondly, because those eggs are younger, then they are likely to be of better quality and a higher chance of success.
Women's advocacy group Aware has also released a 250-page report with nearly 90 recommendations on women's issues. They range from workplace discrimination to better protection for abuse victims. Some of the topics are similar to those brought up in the PAP joint paper. They include the updating of sexual education curriculum, equal maternity and paternity leave policies, and anti-discrimination laws.
You can see patterns of behavior in relation to this person compared to patterns of behavior in relation to other people. So Anti-discrimination legislation is not a new thing in the world. In fact, many developed countries, especially financial centers, have this. But more importantly is that it has a huge deterrent effect. That if you have this legislation, we're hoping that we, in a year, don't have to use this legislation more than a few times.
But Aware also wants working hours regulated to better protect migrant domestic workers. At the same time, it proposes more support for sex crimes victims. Among these, a new specialised court for such cases and funds for community-based victim support services.
Advocacy groups say that the focus on single mothers is timely amid issues of isolation and financial instability that's been made worse during this pandemic. This comes as the joint paper by the PAP calls for social service agencies to work together and offer more holistic help to single parents. Deborah Wong reports.
Madam Lim only finalized a divorce 5 years ago, but she was basically a single parent during the 18 years of her abusive marriage.
I need to pay for household expenses and also electrical bills and also conservancy bills and the children tuition bills. I have 3 daughters, so sometimes I just want to be fair, Sometimes I would prepare 3 shares and I don't keep for myself, I let them have it.
It takes a toll, but she says seeing her daughters graduate from university makes it all worthwhile.
If we continue to expect women to be the primary caregivers, when they become single mom, they will take care of their children, but at what expense? And most of the time at their expense. They give up a lot of things. They can become socially isolated. We need to also make sure that they are thinking of their own development, how to build individual and personal resilience in themselves, and also stay connected with the community.
Sosal Foundation runs a financial literacy program for women in their 40s and above to help them retire comfortably just in case. One NGO suggests a one-stop service for those facing many kinds of issues.
We have received feedback is that single mothers or single parent families, they don't really have that time, the luxury of time to sit down and start applying for the various grants that they are entitled to. And I think if we could work with them, that means sit down and literally work and help them apply for the various grants and applications, I think that would benefit a lot.
But sometimes the hurt takes a different form.
I have friends, laughing at me, saying that at age of 50, I'm still divorcing.
Unwed mothers, and I think to an extent divorced moms do face that stigma of being a single mother. And it's something that we need to work hard, to put out a campaign to help destigmatize being a single parent. We cannot just rely on the government for everything.
Instead, she says these mindset shifts must start in the community before any real change can be seen.